Hey everyone, Pack10th here with a new knife review for you guys. This is the Benchmade 15016 Hidden Canyon Hunter fixed blade. Quite a mouthful, but it's basically just a small little fixed blade, and as the name suggests, it is kind of geared towards hunters. The new kind of hunting line from Benchmade is really neat, and there's a lot of knives that kind of piqued my curiosity. But I was looking for a small little stubby fixed blade that I could use outdoors for basically just general utility tasks. And you know, just kind of cute little camp knife. So this one fit the bill, and I have really enjoyed using it. So let's get some specs out of the way. It does come with this kydex sheath, obviously, and let's get started. So the length of the blade is 2.67 inches. I'm reading this right off of Benchmade's website. And if you want to know, the squares on this cutting mat are 1/2 inches. So if I line it up there for you guys, you can also get a general idea of the length of it. Anyway, the blade thickness is 0.14 inches. The handle thickness is 0.58 inches. And the overall length is 6.32 inches. Now, what's kind of cool about this knife here is that it comes in this version with the G10 scales, but there's another version which is the exact same knife, obviously, but with a wood scales. So if you're more of a traditionalist and you like the wood-handled knives, obviously check that one out. That one also does come with a leather sheath as opposed to a kydex sheath, which I think goes really, really well with the wood handles. So this is kind of your more modernish kind of twist to the knife, and then you obviously have that more traditional style with the wood and leather. The sheath that it comes with, just get it out of the way, is it's a pretty good sheath. The retention in it is really, really strong, but one thing I didn't like about it was the, I guess, belt loop that came on it. This is just kind of a Molly compatible loop that came with the Azula package, so it doesn't come with this knife. The belt loop that did come with this knife was a leather belt loop that kind of wrapped around like this, so you can only really carry this in a horizontal position, which I found really strange. And with only 3 eyelets, there's pretty limited ways you can carry it if you don't choose to go that route. So I'm lucky I had this with my Azula, which I chose to use. Honestly though, for this size knife, I usually just drop it into my pocket, which is perfectly fine. The knife goes into the sheath very well. You can hear it click in, and it's in there really, really well. So kydex sheaths are very good for cleaning. Obviously the hard material doesn't hold water, and you can just flush it out with water if you get any gunk in there. So pretty good sheath overall, but again, I wish they had some kind of a better carrying system for it. So the knife uses S30V stainless steel for the blade, and it is not coated, as you can see there. It does have the S30V stamp laser etch there, and of course the Benchmade butterfly on the blade right there. It has a stonewash finish, which I think looks really nice on this blade. A little bit of a heavier stonewash than you see on other Benchmade knives. A very classic drop point style blade. And speaking of the blade, what does this knife remind me of? Any takers? What does this knife kind of look like? Well, to me, it is basically an upgraded Azula. Just the general size and shape of the knife really reminds me of it, and it basically became my new Azula. My Azula is kind of like my little backup knife now, but this guy I definitely use a heck of a lot more outdoors. Just the steel, in my opinion, is definitely a big upgrade, and it's generally a little bit comfier to hold. Now, this is the first generation Azula that didn't come with the micarta scales that you see on it, so obviously without that it would be even more uncomfortable. So definitely a big upgrade, the Benchmade fixed blade here, but of course you're going to pay a premium for that. But I thought I'd show them side by side because pretty interesting little comparison. Going back here, you do have a very sharp blade out of the box. Now I have touched it up after I've gotten it, obviously, since it's being used, but it was nice and sharp out of the box. I really like the jimping up top, just for aesthetic reasons even. I like how they put a little patch up front. I guess you could choke up really, really well. Again, being a hunting knife, for skinning or whatnot, you might want a little bit more control over your knife for that. But I really like the little details Benchmade went through for this knife. You can see the tang of the knife is first off a full tang construction, obviously, but you have these little cutouts that just make it kind of pop. You know, aesthetically, it's really, really nice to look at the tang of this knife. So pretty cool. You got the G10 scales, of course, or the wood scales, depending on which model you get. They are the same shape, whether or not you get the wood or G10. Same grooves and stuff. You'll notice that it is kind of ridged there. Hard to see because of the lines of the G10, but again, it is a layered stacked G10 with kind of a dark bluish gray with a lighter gray G10 color. So it's really cool. Obviously, with the sculpting of the G10, it shows all the different layers and gives it that kind of cool layered effect. It's held in by two T10 Torx screws, so it's easy to take them off and clean the knife if you need to, but honestly, I doubt you'll ever have to for this knife here. Very nice little knife. Not too much to talk about. You do have a lanyard hole, which is definitely large enough to accommodate any type of 550 paracord you want to put through that. Nice finger control. I love how you can get a full 4-finger grip. You know, it's a little knife, but a lot of little knives come with a handle that is just really hard to use, maybe not super comfortable, but this fills the hand really well and get really good control over the blade no matter what you're doing. So great little knife. Again, I use it more for just utility work rather than skinning animals or whatnot. I'm not really a hunter for big game, so never used it to skin a deer or anything like that, but I'm sure just looking at the geometry of the blade, it would be fantastic for that. So just a quick-ish little video on the Benchmade Hidden Canyon Hunter, the 15016. Again, check out the Hunter line of knives from Benchmade. I think it's well worth it if you're interested in that. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.